Hi, I'm Pippa Cleary. I am a West End musical theatre composer. I dabble in mainly theatre stuff, animation, the odd advert, tiny bit of pop, and lots of kids' music. So I love a cheesy melody. There's nothing cool about me at all. I love just all things kind of jazzy and theatrical and larger than life. My big West End hits would be The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 and 3/4, the musical, which is quite a lengthy title. The Great British Bake Off musical, which ran around in the West End a couple of years ago. And then My Sons Are Queer, But What Can You Do? Which is my latest show. So all very different, all very fun. That's probably... Oh, I'm visually impaired, so I write slightly differently. Yeah, lots of cool things.
So you've currently got a single out at the moment that was released 6 months ago. Can you tell us about that and how it ties into your Broadway musical to date?
Sure thing. So I don't know if anyone follows Rob Madge on Instagram. They are an incredible non-binary performer, and they wrote My Sons Are Queer, But What Can You Do? We wrote that together about 3 years ago when we were drunk over 3 evenings, which I always tell this story because I think sometimes when you get given a big thing, you know, like a big job, you get really in your head about it. Oh, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. I felt that when I got on the Disney list. There's all this pressure. Whereas this thing,
You're on the Disney.
I'm on the list. I'm on the list of 150 people that get the briefs, and you have to create for like the theme for like a TV show or whatever they're doing, and then 150 people submit, and one person gets it. So your chances are not high. But I'm on the list. But my point is, I'm sorry if I'm tangenting off already.
We're here for you.
You know, when you're like, this is a big thing, and I really struggle the older I get to just be in that place where it's like fun and what did we do it for in the first place? And for My Sons Are Queer, Rob came over with Prosecco. We got pissed. I think I got paid 75 quid to do these songs for what at the time was this tiny show, like in a shed, that was running for 3 nights in Battersea. And then it ended up going on, and it did 2 West End runs. It was meant to go to Broadway, which would have made me the first British female composer with a Broadway show. But it got cancelled 3 weeks beforehand because of sales and producer stuff. So we had a massive dip. You know, it all came crashing down, and that was tricky. So we wrote All in Good Time, which is this single you're talking about, as a sort of sometimes things don't go your way and something you can do about it. You just got to keep plugging on, keep doing the thing, and eventually things will right themselves. And this year, finally, we had a week at New York City Centre, which is not Broadway, but it's pretty damn close. So yeah, that's the story with that one. Please listen to it. So hands Sky, thanks.
Yeah, you deserve a clap for that one. Being on the Disney list, you know, and sort of the New York, and you've been running for adverts as well recently. What's your current advert?
Well, I have lined up the advert if you'd like to see the advert. The advert was for Coinbase, a cryptocurrency. And what was quite funny is that every single person involved in the advert was like, don't invest in Coinbase. Absolutely not. It's dreadful. Like, don't touch crypto. But we were all working on this advert. And that came about because of my West End musical theatre stuff. I think a lot of the advertising companies are I've got myself the name for being the musical theatre gal who can do catchy bops. So yeah, they reached out, I pitched for it, I got it. So you don't have to play the whole thing. I think this is the 2 minutes. There's a 2 minutes, a 60 seconds, a 45, a 30, and 20, but I heaven knows what this is. But yeah, this is the 2 minute. This is the 2. Stop it whenever you're bored.
We ain't got no troubles, no reason to complain. 'Cause here in great old Britain, we just love it when it rains.
Morning.
We're cozy here at home, even though it's not our own. But wait a few more years and who can say? Everything is just fine. Everything is grand. Your life can get no better when you're living by the letter in this pleasant land. Everything is just fine. Everything is great. The streets can't get no cleaner, nor the rat meat any leaner. No, life is just first rate.
Everything is just fine.
These fish fingers are a steal.
Prices up a smidge.
Just 100 quid a meal.
Empty purse, but hey, could be worse if there was nothing in the fridge.
Strategic realignment means I get to work for myself. Yeah! Paying off my law degree with tips from each delivery. Excuse me, sir, I have your tandoori. Everything is just fine. Everything is grand. Your life can get no better when you're living by the letter in this pleasant land. Everything is just fine. Everything is great. We're soldiering on. We're doing our bit.
We're off to Dubai.
It's time to jump ship.
We're tightening our belts with a stiff upper lip. 'Cause everything's just
The extended cut.
Another Pete question, Stipper. Go for it. Can I say one thing that's just occurred to me before you do?
Sure.
That you might find interesting about advertising music in musical theatre. Songs change a lot. Like, we change key all the time. The tempo's there. You've got dialogue everywhere. And what was funny with Mother and Mr. Pate Cleary, the agencies I worked with on this, is that in most adverts, they used to the songs be quite modular. So they'll have to like chop off a bit to make the 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll sort of, and that's easier with pop and things like that, where the tempo is pretty much probably going to be the same. You can, you know, whereas with musical, I mean, they were doing all sorts of edits, and because we were in different keys, it sort of go, and I was like, it doesn't work that way. So we had to, it was quite a learning experience for both of us to go, we need to actually plan the 20, the 45, and the 60 ahead of the filming, because otherwise you're going to be stuck. So that was interesting.
Fantastic. So let's backtrack on the advert in a moment. What I really want to ask you, and I think everyone might be interested in, is was the plan always to do musicals?
Yes.
Wow. So what was your inspiration?
I am a Disney fiend. I was that 6-year-old that was singing along to all the Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz growing up. I have a Disney princess type of voice. That's what I started writing when I was 10, like little shows to my cousins and stuff like that. And it's probably my most natural happy place musically. I do love doing scores and pop and other stuff, but musical theatre is probably where my sound naturally sits the most.
So you're now getting commissioned to do briefs for adverts that are musical theatre based. Is there any adverts you've done that isn't musical theatre based, or is that sort of your forte?
Yeah, the Citron one I did with a friend is just like an accordion French thing. But to be fair, I only got that because he's a hip hop producer, and we did a musical together when they wanted a hip hop score, and so I added the kind of melodies, and he made it really, really freaking cool. So we sometimes do adverts together. But no, that is a struggle. I mean, I'm trying at the moment to say to the agencies, I don't just do musicals, but as you know, you do get buttonholed as like, this is what she does well, which is great. And you have to embrace your USP. But yeah, I'd like to try and do a bit more of other genres as well.
So can you tell us about that advert in particular? So you mentioned some struggles. So you were given a brief, and did they keep changing the brief, or what were the challenges there?
With that particular, that one was pretty smooth sailing. I actually did one for Love is Blind and Netflix 2 months later that was not. So for that one, they wanted a musical theatre song. I sent them about 5 or 6 different scats, like iPhone memos of me on the piano singing, dun, 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 like various different versions of the lyrics that they'd already written. So they'd written most of those lyrics, and then they picked it. I hired an orchestrator because I can't orchestrate because I can't see very well, and that was pretty good. But the next one, which is the more standard advertising experience, and most of my friends who do adverts too will concur with this, is they don't normally know what they want. And they'll be like, we want Chapel Roan versus, you know, Fred Astaire versus opera. Like, see, I'm thinking some of these Disney this Disney list, which I keep talking about having been so honoured to be on this list. They have no idea what they want. They're always sending, we want this like 2-minute song for this dragon TV program for 3 to 9-year-olds, and we want, sort of like Indiana Jones meets Ray meets, like, they just don't know. So they basically say, here's all the genres, please just give us your best. So half the job with advertising is basically giving them reference tracks and going, do you like this? Do you like that? Is this actually what you mean? And trying to work out what they mean. But it's tricky. I mean, often I've nearly got an advert for the Olympics, which they wanted like a Chicago style, Frank Sinatra thing, and then they ended up with I think they ended up with a hip hop song. So of course I wasn't going to get that. So you just have to be aware that it can go so different.
Do you have any tips for our audience who are composers, songwriters looking to get into film and TV, as to the channels of where, how you might start off?
For adverts and things, yeah, because I haven't really worked in film apart from a few songs for an animated movie. I think for me, unfortunately, it is connections, which is annoying because that's how you start with the connections. Excuse me. The only reason I have any of these adverts is because of the musicals I've written, and they wanted musical theatre songs. But to be fair, I did do a lot of reaching out, and I did have enough of a portfolio. So obviously make sure you have a really hot portfolio. And if there are agencies and adverts you really want to target, just reach out and keep bugging them. Please, can I have a meet? This is what I've done. Listen to this song. I think I'd be perfect for you because, and half the time you do get a response.
I think that leads us really well into our next sort of area of how did you get started? Can you take us on your journey? So you studied music at Bristol University.
I did.
You met your one of your songwriting partners. You have 7, is it?
I mean, I've worked with about 7. So in theatre, you call them book writers. So I'm a composer lyricist, so I do music and lyrics. And I normally would write a musical with a book writer who writes the script, and they do the other half of the lyrics, normally. So I met one of these, Jake, at university. Also Luke, who's a director who's currently directing Paddington, which has just opened. We met in halls of residence, and he directed me and Jake's first 2 shows, and then he went stratospheric. He's done incredibly well. So we started as like a trio, and we went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with our first couple musicals. Jet Set Go, which was this cabin crew, hilarious little jaunt. That went to the off West End, and I got an agent and sort of started trying to write musicals. But like we were talking about, I run a business as well called Pippa's Poppets that does music for preschool children in nurseries and kindergartens, because again, like it takes a really long time to make a living from it. So for a good decade I was doing kind of 50-50. Try. Yeah, go.
So you were, so you were doing 50-50 composing, and then you've launched into being a full-time composer lyricist and an award-winning one at that. So, and at what point did that sort of switch happen? What was the actual project that switch happened?
It didn't happen like that. It was very gradual. And I still run Pippa's Puppets, but it doesn't really make a huge amount of money now, but I'm just proud of it, so I don't want to let it go. But I guess, I'm 39 now. I was not making a living just from my composing until I was about 31. I was always doing teaching and writing. And in musicals, it's really not great money, which is why I've been trying to do more adverts, because obviously those are great when you get them.
Can you tell us about an outstanding moment for writing for a musical? So you've literally written for 3.
I've written about 22
but West End
musicals, but only 3 of them have got to the West End.
Only 3.
Well, no, but like when you've written 22, there's so many. Just like with anything, I'm sure you guys do. You write all these songs, and only like 1 or 2 or 3 of them are gonna make it in any kind of way. But that's totally normal. But the problem with musicals, unlike a song or a piece of music, is that you can spend years and years. Adrian Mole, which was my first one, took 7 years from the very first meeting we had with the agent, who was Sue Townsend's agent, and we got the rights to do it. And we only got the rights to do it because she liked us and gave it to us for free. That took 7 years. Bake Off took 3 years. My Sons Are Queer was 3 days, but that was unusual, like I say. So I've forgotten my point. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we're just talking about musical.
Yeah,
is this? So you won an award, 2023 was it? An Olivier Award.
I didn't win an Olivier Award, but My Sons Are Queer was nominated.
Nominated. God.
Yes, it was nominated. And that was the same year I wrote the opening number to the Olivier Awards.
You wrote the opening number. That's
So, like, if anyone watches the Tonys, I don't know if anyone knows, they always do this massive shebang. James Corden does it sometimes. I think Cynthia Erivo's probably going to do it this year. But it's an original song, and it's normally some sort of big old extravaganza medley of all the shows, and it's a massive honor. And the UK's never done it. I think they don't have, that's higher budget and stuff but I did it that one year for Hannah Waddingham, and that was brilliant. So let's play 30 seconds of that one, which I know you've queued up, but we don't have to go to the A.
Trying to make us look effortless. It's the songs that make you laugh, that make you cry. Then you know that you found a good music. That's the part of the music on the songs that make you feel, that make it real. Before you grab your drink, maybe you'll stop and think. And at the heart of every show, the ones who make it glow are really just the people. The people listening. It's the people you will see. Can it create a spanzy tree?
That was a good one.
So how did that come about?
So how did that feel?
You're at the opening number. So did you get a brief? Did you just send off to
That it was another shitstorm because I had to do. Originally, it was going to be what they do for the Tonys, which really is like go through every show that's on in the West End and make a little funny quirk, like a little joke. So I did that version, and then various shows got annoyed because we haven't done it before. So it ended up being political and had to be pared back, and also like they didn't have the budget for all the dancers, and I had a whole dream like there were going to be gymnastics and all sorts, but yeah,
It looked like a
you know how you do it. Like I was like, oh, it's going to be just as good as the version on Tony's, but I'm so glad it ended up being that. But yeah, I think I wrote 17 or 18 completely different versions of that song, and then I was told, yeah, no, it needs to be Hannah with some singers, and we've only got them for an hour and a half that day, so when there's no rehearsal time, you can't suddenly be doing a and then she didn't respond for ages because she was with Joe Biden at the time, and I was trying to make sure that it was in the right key for her. So I was like, so the orchestra was like, what are we playing in it? Is it in F? Isn't it? I was like, so it was typically dramatic and showbiz, sort of all that stuff. But like, I loved every second. And then she actually gave me a shout out at the end, and she said, "Congratulations, Pippa, for being the first female composer to have ever written." So she didn't need to do that. So that was really sweet of her. Like, woman power, Hannah. Like she's great.
Amazing. So we are going to go to Q&A in a few minutes. So if anyone's got any questions, there's going to be a mic handed out for people. Yeah, but really quickly, what is your landscape? So for everyone at LCCM that's studying, what we want to know is, what is your landscape? What is your musical universe?
I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I live in Angel. I'm visually impaired, so I'm often working from home because that's when I have a big screen. Half the time I've got people coming round, like book writers or to write with me. I'm currently got about 3 or 4 musicals in development. Some are finished, some I'm tweaking, some are at the beginning. The other time I'm doing a lot of admin, as you do. We were talking earlier about the business side of things. I don't know that much about publishing. I'm now published, and so I've had to spend quite a lot of time this year learning about the contracts and trying to take more. So sorry, is this Diet Coke? More ownership. Oh, yeah, understand. I have an agent in theatre. She's great. She takes 10%. She does my deals. But the problem with that, obviously, is that you don't really read your deal. You're like, you've done the best job for me. And I think actually, especially with regards to the music industry, which is a completely different kettle of fish to the theatre industry, they're very different worlds. So I've been learning a lot about that. I work with a lot of orchestrators and producers, sound engineers, because I can't see very well, so I can sort of read, and my logic skills are minimal at best. So I'm normally sort of either getting something down on Sibelius with using FlexiTime, which is this great. No one uses FlexiTime. It's great.
What's Flex?
Oh my god! I don't know if you guys use Sibelius a lot here. It's the the notation software for music.
We've got a version.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It came in 5 years ago, and if you sort of you quantize in advance and you tell it that you're not going to play anything faster than a quaver or whatever, and you play in about a minute at a time, and then you create on the piano, which is how I do it, rather than inputting every single note, and then it kind of renotates it for you, and it does 80%, and then it just needs a bit of a polish. So anyway, that was revolutionary for me, but I do have to delegate to musical directors and orchestrators to help me, because in theatre, of course, you do need scores, and I don't really read. But for the adverts, sometimes it's been just Logic or Cubase. It depends who I'm working with.
Okay.
So I have various different collaborators that I speak to, and sometimes it's just me. And then the other thing is my landscape. At the moment, I have a musical that's opening at Bristol or Vic called Treasure Island, family Christmas show. So I'm popping to Bristol once or twice a week, and then that's rehearsals, and that's watching and commenting and giving notes, and that's always lovely. So that's very different to being at home, and
That's so amazing. So we're gonna wrap up our chat on stage and go to Q&A now. Do you have any advice for anyone at LCCM wanting to get into the musical world? Because you said it's very different to the pop rock, R&B.
because I'd like advice to get into the popular music world.
Yeah, so you're looking to get into
Well, a little bit. If you want to get into musicals, there's all sorts of, like, MMD, Mercury Musicals Development, is a big old organization that puts together composers and lyricists, and much like this, they have a lot of masterclasses and events, and industry professionals coming in and critiquing songs. So there's lots of forums, and sort of it's a close-knit community, but unfortunately there isn't a lot of money in it. And writing musicals and putting on anything, even if it's in a pub or something, does take that little bit more effort. So I think some people are put off by that, because you can't just do a song and put it on socials and necessarily, that's kind of how it is. It just takes longer. It takes more people, but it is really, really worth it.
Okay, so we're going to open the floor with Sunny has got the mic at the back. Has anyone got any questions? Oh, we've got this gentleman at the front here.
Thank you for your talk and your conversation. First, I'd like to mention I do performing arts.
Brilliant.
And I'm really into writing, storytelling, and I am working towards a piece that is somewhat musical, but like in a musical sense of Hamilton. And the script is always rhyming and in that kind of context. How do I've already got the final script, and I've already got the concept there. I just need to figure out like the getting the actors or getting the production work and everything like that. What would you recommend on like starting from where I'm at now, which is the final script, to every other layer to get to the final?
It's really tricky. I think step one is always to, as you say, and I will say, you just ask your friends, because that's what I did for the first decade of my career. You've written a thing, you've got to get some demos done, call in favors, pay people in wine. I'm still doing that. No, but it's true. Like because unfortunately you've got to have something to put out. Obviously with social media now, there's all, you can actually get something out there, which is brilliant. And often then you'll get noticed. But I think also, in the musical theatre scene, it is joining those forums like MMD, learning who the producers are.
You mentioned MMD. What's that?
It's called Mercury Musicals Development.
Okay, just explain.
So MMD. And they give advice for this kind of people who are starting in the industry, and they try and. But I'm not gonna lie, like it's really hard which is why you kind of have to do it yourself at the beginning. You have to find a way to put it on We went to the Fringe, obviously. We had a tiny bit of funding for that. So then we got something on, and then we had something that had reviews, and then we could say, "Oh, look at this show at the Fringe that had a 5-star review. Would you meet us? Can we come in and talk to you, whether it's producer or a director or a theatre?" And do you know what I mean? So that's finding ways to get things on, even in the smallest way.
I think that's a path as well, because I've noticed that you've done that a couple of times. You've put stuff on at the Fringe and then it's got picked up. So maybe
The Fringe is the best place to start in musicals. I don't know if anyone's seen Operation Mincemeat, but that started at the Fringe, and so did Six, the most successful musical of all time. 2 students from university wrote a show, took it to the Fringe, and
there you go. Yeah, tip right there.
there you go.
Do you have any more questions, or is there anyone else? Gentleman at the back there. Right. Oh.
Hi there. Thanks very much. Really, really great to hear you about your journey. I was interested in 2 things. One, your influences. I noticed in the advert, the first one is sort of almost like a bit of a Lionel Barge influence, quite retro. But then again, like when I visit some of your stuff on Spotify, it's quite contemporary, more Disney-esque kind of stuff as well. Have you sort of, outside of the Disney influence, have you looked at other ones? I mean, like Guys and Dolls or
Yeah.
Wiki, So yeah, so you
Wait.
really
I mean, again, musicals, as you say, span such a massive. You've got Hamilton, and then you've got Disney, and then you've got Guys and Dolls, and you've got the old stuff, and you've got the new stuff. For me, my happiest place probably is the Alan Menken Disney, Stephen Schwartz kind of place. In terms of the advert, though, of course, the brief was they wanted me to write a song that was basically as close as you can get to Consider Yourself on the, which is Consider Yourself, da da. And I actually, for the advert, I started out with Everything is Just Fine. And the musicologist told me that was too close, so I had to change it.
Oh yeah, because I suppose it's really easy when you're at such a kind of musicals you've obviously touched on a memory for someone there, which is fantastic. And it's just nice to get that engagement and to know that people enjoy what you're saying. But you have to be careful, I guess, that you don't sort of you can unintentionally write things that someone else has written, perhaps. So maybe
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
I think for adverts, doesn't matter. Give them what they want. They want something to sound as close to a Frank Sinatra song as possible. That's your job. You do it. You make them happy. Very different when you're writing something for you, or in my case, a musical. And yeah, sometimes I've had she does pastiche. It's annoying because there's a song in Bake Off that it sounds a bit like the Spice Girls song "To Become One," but which we sort of did intentionally, but also it's not "To Become One." It's just got the same beat. But they've ripped off. So it is tricky because of course you have all sorts of influences, and they're going to come out in your music. There's only so many notes. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you have to have your own voice.
Hopefully, I think we've got time for another 2 questions. I think there's a couple of.
So I kind of quickly follow up. I know I still got the mic, but just projects you work on, do you initiate them, or do people come to you, or do you how do they come about?
My projects, was that
Yes. Do you initiate them at the things you develop yourself from this ground up?
for the first decade? Yes. So Adrian Mole, we wanted to do it, so we got the meeting with the agent, which took a while, and we asked, and we even with Bake Off, we had to do pitching for a year and a half before they gave us the job. So at the beginning, 100%, you've got to do, because no one's going to give you something when they don't know what you can do. The last decade, more things have come to me. But I even say come to me, I'll have been suggested, and I'll have a meeting, and then maybe they won't want me. There was a film I just really wanted to do, a film, which would have been great. And I didn't get it. There was not so. But that's only when you've got a portfolio of stuff, I guess, already, that people will approach you because they know what you've done. But at the beginning, 100% going out and trying to find things. And to be fair, I was lucky because I had Jake and Luke and these other collaborators, so it wasn't just me. And they're both very driven, know everyone in the industry types. So actually, they propelled me along at the beginning a bit, and then I tried to, do things for myself.
Yes, that just shows you the power of networking. And
Yeah, well, I had to learn to get good at it. I'm not as naturally good at it as some, and I hate social media with a passion, which possibly has hurt me a little bit because you have to do that too now.
do we have any more questions?
Thank you, and thanks for doing this. My question is about idea capture and what any tips you have about workflow there and what your workflow might be. Is it always with people in the room, or I guess there's a lot of it when you're by yourself. So any for you to share?
How to be
Yeah.
creative and
More like the process. Does it go from mind to piano and then, use notation? Obviously not in your case, because that's the hash, use a voice recorder or something.
so for me, I sit at the piano and I tinkle. Yeah, I will use voice memo app. Often get it playing. If I'm with a collaborator, we'll often be kind of chatting and talking about the song, and he'll be moving around the room, and I'll sit and I'll go, maybe this, maybe that. Music and lyrics don't always come together, but often the tune will. So I'll be doing nonsense lyrics, so I might kind of go, and the cat in the dog for the soda, and I'll record that, and then I'll sort of replace it later with other lyrics. But I think it's trying to create a relaxed environment, which is not always easy, and I really find it harder when I'm on my own, like to motivate myself to try and sit down and create. I think I respond to that bouncing ideas off other people thing, which you don't always get. So I don't have I mean, for me, yeah, it's sitting at the piano and saying, and then later I will, once the song is written, I will get it down either onto Sibelius or on Logic, or I'll pay someone else to do it for me.
And that's what I think. Has that answered your question?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, Pippa. Thank you. Quick question. What advice would you have for somebody who I'm here with my writing partner, we're musical theatre writers. We are not entirely green. We've done Beam, we're members of MND.
Should have said Beam, thank you.
Yeah, Beam is a big musical theatre festival for those who don't know, and they do it every year. MND organizes it. But yes, so off the back of Beam, we've had lots of producers asking, we met lots of them, some are reading a script. And so we're kind of like so close to getting a door open, but nobody's been like, yes, I'm your producer, I'm your lead producer. What do we do? We're kind of like in the waiting stages where the ball is in the other court. We're kind of going mad and we're thinking, what's the healthy thing to do? And how do we push the networking further after having literally written to everybody in the industry?
Have you sent them demos?
Yes, and some of them are reading the full script.
Well, that's great. Yeah, Beam is this other platform where people present, which is fantastic. What's the next step? I guess, because it's true, I'm sure you find this too, just emailing people with demos is always cold, isn't it? If there's an event that you can create where you present your thing in person, half an hour of your show, for example, you can manage to get some friends or actors and singers to help you out, and you make it fun, and you can get people along to that. If you did have interest from Beam, that would be fantastic, because then you've got people's attention for half an hour. Me and Jake often got way further if we could get in the room and just have even 10 minutes at the piano, and we would play people certain songs and we'd go, hey, this is our show, and if you can talk about your project and be passionate about it, that's half the battle, because the producers or the theatres or whoever it is want to work with you and know that you're a collaborative, exciting person. Whereas an email that just goes, hello, this is me, and here's attached my project, please could you read it? I'm doing that all the time if people never respond, and I'm supposed to have some sort of clout. So it is depressing. So I guess, but I don't know how you get those in-person meetings apart from just bang on that door. Keep banging on that door. But, ask the people at Beam. Ask Kate, what's her name? McEwen. Yeah, that's it. She's lovely. She'll probably, she has a whole list of people. But I appreciate that it's hard. I really do. And getting things on at the fringe if you can is always great. But that's also expensive and, time hungry.
Thank you.
Amazing. So, I think we've got one more question we can squeeze in for this gentleman here. If that's all right, Sonia. So, should we sing the song while we have a little break? While we walk over? Huh?
Hi, thank you. I was the king mate, so I didn't get the whole thing, the whole story. But you're a composer / lyricist, right? And I got multiple questions I can remember. The one that's like pressing me the most is more about, like, do you ever encounter writer's block, and what's your process to just like get out?
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I recycle a lot. and I'm not ashamed of it. I have so many failed advert pitches or shows that've gone nowhere. So if I'm really struggling, I mean, I guess the first thing I'll do is listen to reference tracks that I think are in the vein of the thing I'm trying to create, which again, I do not think there's any shame in. A lot of people give me grief. Oh, no, like, you can't listen to, you'll be inspired by that artist. Well, we're all inspired by other artists. So thank you. And again, sometimes actually, yes, I will nick the beat off a song I really like. And write to that beat. Obviously, then I'll tweak it later, but that really helps me to get into like a groove or a zone. That's not working yet. I will go back to the trunk and go, do I have anything existing? Because I do recycle a lot. I've got like so many songs in my musicals that originated from something else. I've got like a Samsung advert is in Bake Off because that didn't work out. Like, this is the same tune. So, and again, people give me grief for it. I was like, no, Angela Weber does this all the time. Like, so if you've got, or even if you just take the first bit of a tune that you like from that other thing, and then it gets you to the next bit. But I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've got it at the moment because I'm working on this project that I really don't love. So I'm having to force myself to do it. And it's not my best stuff because I don't care that much, which is awful. It's probably the first time I've accepted a job for the money, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm certainly not going to say what it is in case this gets out. But yeah, a lot. It happens a lot. We all get it. Sometimes a deadline just forces you to do something, right? And then later maybe you'll tweak it. But yeah, I appreciate it's tricky.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here today, Music Introduced Monday. We have a open mic. If anyone wants to stick around for that, it's going to be quite fun. Always is at LCCM. We're noisemakers, music makers. So thanks, Pippa. We really appreciate it.
It's been lovely to be here. Thank you.